Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Talk Lab podcast. I'm Emma, here alongside my co-host, Jack, and today we're diving into the fascinating world of English grammar. Many learners perceive grammar as complicated or intimidating, but we're going to explore how understanding its structure can dramatically improve communication, fluency, and confidence in speaking, reading, and writing.
Thanks, Emma. Grammar often seems daunting because people think it's just a collection of strict rules. In reality, it's the framework that allows ideas to flow coherently. When you grasp grammar patterns, sentence structures, and nuances, you begin to express yourself precisely. Instead of struggling to be understood, you gain clarity and can communicate with confidence.
Indeed, one of the most common challenges for English learners is distinguishing between tenses. We have past, present, and future, each with several variations, and each conveys subtle differences in meaning. For example, the difference between I have eaten and I ate is often misunderstood. The present perfect implies an experience or a result affecting the present, while the simple past refers to a completed action at a specific time.
Exactly, or perhaps I should say, precisely. Because nuances like that can alter meaning significantly. Another point worth mentioning is the progressive forms. Using I am eating versus I eat changes the perspective. The first emphasizes ongoing action, whereas the latter communicates a habitual pattern or fact. Learners often default to simple forms, but mastering continuous tenses can elevate natural speech remarkably.
Another area that many overlook is subject-verb agreement. It's crucial that verbs correspond in number with their subjects, whether singular or plural. Mistakes in this domain make sentences awkward or even confusing. For instance, the group of students is planning a trip versus the group of students are planning a trip. The first is grammatically correct because group is singular, even if multiple students are involved.
Absolutely. Misunderstandings often arise when phrases or clauses intervene between the subject and verb. Grammar rules can appear tricky at first, but awareness of these details prevents errors. And then there's pronoun usage, which sometimes confuses learners because pronouns must match their antecedents in number, gender, and case.
That's a perfect segue to discuss personal pronouns and possessive forms. For instance, he gave his book to her, conveys relationships between individuals and objects clearly, but misplacing her or his can obscure meaning. Understanding the subtleties of pronouns, relative clauses, and modifiers is vital for fluency, particularly in professional or academic contexts.
Indeed, Emma. Additionally, word order is essential. English primarily follows a subject-verb-object structure, yet variations, especially in questions or with adverbial phrases, can trip up learners. For example, she always reads books in the evening versus in the evening, she always reads books. Both are correct, but the emphasis shifts. Recognizing these patterns allows learners to manipulate sentence rhythm effectively.
And we mustn't forget about modal verbs. Words like can, could, must, should, and might express ability, obligation, permission, or probability. Their subtle differences convey a range of meaning. Saying you should study communicates advice, whereas you must study implies necessity or requirement. These nuances matter when expressing intentions accurately.
Precisely. Another aspect that learners frequently struggle with is articles, a, an, and the. Articles define nouns and help indicate whether the speaker refers to something specific or general. For instance, I saw a dog versus I saw the dog changes the listener's understanding entirely. Misusing articles is common but can be mitigated with attentive practice and exposure.
Punctuation also plays a significant role in grammar. Commas, semicolons, colons, and dashes not only clarify meaning, but also enhance readability. Take, for instance, the difference between "let's eat grandma" and "let's eat grandma." A simple comma saves lives, quite literally. Punctuation ensures that sentences convey intended meaning and emotion.
Yes, and English prepositions can also be tricky. In, on, at, by, for. Each can dramatically alter interpretation. For example, she is on the bus versus she is in the bus versus she is at the bus stop. Subtle shifts in prepositions may confuse learners, yet they are integral to precision.
Furthermore, conditionals illustrate hypothetical, real, or past situations. The first conditional, "If it rains, I will stay home," represents a real future possibility, whereas the second conditional, "If I were rich, I would travel," depicts an unreal or imagined scenario. Understanding conditionals equips speakers to discuss probability, consequence, and speculation.
And then there are phrasal verbs, which are essential for conversational fluency. Take off, put up with, break down, and run into are common, yet literal translations often fail. Phrasal verbs frequently confuse learners because the meaning isn't predictable from the individual words, but mastering them dramatically improves comprehension and natural expression.
Another challenging area is the use of relative clauses. Words like who, whom, which, and that connect ideas and provide essential or non-essential information. For example, the student who studies regularly will succeed versus the student who studies regularly will succeed. One specifies, the other adds additional information. Such subtleties enrich speech and writing.
And vocabulary expansion is also closely tied to grammar. Knowing when and how to use synonyms, adjectives, adverbs, and transitional phrases can transform simple sentences into nuanced, expressive communication. For example, replacing very happy with elated or thrilled can convey stronger emotion, while varying sentence openings prevents repetition and monotony.
Exactly. And one thing learners often underestimate is how idiomatic expressions integrate with grammar. Phrases like kick the bucket, hit the nail on the head, or on the fence follow certain syntactic patterns. And understanding how to use them contextually elevates both comprehension and conversational skill.
Furthermore, sentence connectors such as however, therefore, meanwhile, and although guide readers or listeners through ideas logically. They indicate contrast, cause and effect, sequence or concession, creating cohesion. Without proper connectors, even correct sentences can feel disjointed.
And speaking of cohesion, paragraphing in writing complements grammar. Sentences must link naturally to preceding or succeeding ideas. Grammar rules support these connections, but strategic structuring ensures the narrative or argument flows. For spoken English, connecting words and intonation achieve similar cohesion.
Moreover, the correct use of reported speech is fundamental. Shifting tenses when reporting statements, for instance, she said, "I am tired," becomes, "She said that she was tired." Accurate reporting reflects understanding of tense sequences and maintains meaning across contexts.
Yes, tense sequences can be particularly challenging. Understanding how past, present, and future interact in complex sentences, especially in narrative writing or storytelling, improves clarity. For example, "By the time I arrived, he had left" combines past perfect with simple past, conveying precise chronological order.
And for oral communication, intonation, stress, and rhythm interact with grammar. Questions, emphasis, negation, and modal verbs are often marked by tone rather than structure alone. Learners who combine grammatical accuracy with natural intonation communicate more convincingly and fluently.
Finally, let's not forget about common errors. Double negatives, misused infinitives, confusion between adjectives and adverbs. Addressing these habitual mistakes, often ingrained through exposure to informal speech or first language interference, allows learners to refine both spoken and written English.
Exactly, and with continuous practice, reading, listening, speaking, and writing, learners internalize grammar naturally rather than relying solely on memorization. Exposure to real contexts, authentic dialogue, and diverse texts reinforces patterns intuitively.
Absolutely, Jack. Continuous exposure and practice create what linguists call grammatical intuition. When learners read books, listen to conversations, or write regularly, their brain begins to recognize patterns automatically. You don't consciously memorize every rule anymore. Instead, you start feeling what sounds correct. This is the real goal: internalizing grammar so that it becomes second nature.
Precisely. And this intuitive sense of structure allows learners to experiment with language creatively. They begin forming complex sentences, using varied connectors, and expressing ideas more fluently without hesitation. At first, mistakes are natural, but with consistent feedback, these errors diminish. Over time, the learner's English starts to resemble that of a native speaker, not because of imitation, but because the underlying grammar becomes instinctive.
It's fascinating how the mind adapts. Even adult learners can achieve this level of fluency with commitment. Many believe that grammar mastery is only for children or formal students, but research shows that persistent, meaningful practice can lead to significant improvements at any age. The key is variety, engaging with different contexts, styles, and genres.
Yes, and let's not overlook pronunciation and its interaction with grammar. Stress patterns, syllable emphasis, and intonation often reflect underlying grammatical structures. For example, placing emphasis on the correct auxiliary verb in questions. "Are you going to the market?" versus "Are you going to the market?" subtly communicates focus and intent. Misplaced emphasis can confuse meaning even if grammar is technically correct.
Exactly. And punctuation in writing mirrors this. Commas, periods, and semicolons act like intonation markers in speech, guiding the reader through pauses, emphasis, and rhythm. This parallel between spoken and written grammar makes both forms mutually reinforcing. When learners read aloud and pay attention to punctuation, They often internalize grammar more efficiently.
Another crucial aspect is the sequencing of ideas. Learners sometimes produce grammatically correct sentences, but struggle to connect them logically. Using subordinating conjunctions, relative clauses, and transitional phrases ensures clarity. Although she studied diligently, she didn't pass the exam links cause and effect. Without the conjunction, the relationship is unclear.
And context is everything. Grammar doesn't exist in isolation. A sentence must fit its environment, whether conversational, academic, or creative. The same grammatical structure may be appropriate in one setting and awkward in another. Understanding this subtlety comes with exposure and reflection.
Right. For instance, using the passive voice is common in academic writing. The experiment was conducted carefully, but in casual conversation, active voice feels more natural. We conducted the experiment carefully. Recognizing when and where to apply each form is part of advanced grammar proficiency.
And modality adds another layer. Expressing possibility, obligation, or necessity requires both grammar and intuition. She might arrive late signals uncertainty, while she must arrive late indicates necessity or obligation. The choice of modal verb conveys not just action, but also tone and attitude, essential for nuanced communication.
Yes, and subtle mistakes in this area can lead to misunderstandings. Learners often confuse should and must, or may and might. Context, familiarity, and exposure are what helps solidify the correct usage. The more one interacts with English in authentic scenarios, the more intuitive these distinctions become.
And idiomatic expressions tie directly into grammar understanding. Phrases like be used to versus get used to, or look forward to versus look after, involve specific structures. Incorrect usage can sound unnatural, even if all individual words are correct. Mastering these idioms demonstrates both grammatical competence and cultural fluency.
Exactly, Emma. It's not only about correctness, but also about sounding natural. Learners who understand idiomatic patterns and integrate them effectively appear more confident and fluent. Over time, these patterns become internalized, reducing hesitation in speaking or writing.
Finally, I think it's essential to emphasize patience. Grammar is complex, but it's learned gradually. Mistakes are opportunities, not failures. Each correction, each review, each new exposure reinforces understanding. Over months and years, what once seemed impossible becomes effortless.
Absolutely. And to sum it up, mastering English grammar is not about memorizing endless rules. It's about exposure, practice, intuition, and reflection. It's about connecting patterns to meaning, structure to context, and rules to everyday communication.
Yes, Jack. And for anyone listening, remember that progress is a journey. Each sentence you form, every paragraph you write, and every conversation you engage in strengthens your grammatical intuition. Keep practicing, stay curious, and don't be afraid of making mistakes. They are stepping stones to mastery.
Well, Emma, I think that brings our discussion to a satisfying conclusion. Grammar may seem intricate, but when approached with consistency, patience, and practical application, it transforms from a set of rules into a powerful tool for expression.
I agree, Jack. And we hope that our conversation today has provided insight, motivation, and practical understanding to help everyone listening improve their English.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Talk Lab podcast. Keep exploring, learning, and applying what you've discovered.
Absolutely! And remember, language is a bridge. It connects you to ideas, people, and opportunities. Mastering grammar is just one part of building that bridge. Goodbye, everyone. Keep learning and stay inspired.